Hello, Staircase to Nowhere family. We are here.
What's the name of our show?
Staircase.
Staircase? Yikes.
Sucrose to nowhere.
Say it again. Just say it again. You got it. You'll get there.
Hello, Staircase to Nowhere family.
Love it.
We're not a
Welcome to
family.
another new episode with your favorite hosts. My name is Noah. I'm here with Sam
Hey.
and David.
Hey.
Guys, we all have something in common, and it's not that we're all dads, because I'm not. But
2/3 of us, though.
But it is that we've all been youth pastors before, or some of us pastors and some of us more youth directors, not technically pastors
Youth
and such.
activity leaders.
Youth church ministers
Youth
that are
coordinator.
not technically known as pastors for reasons. And so today
You ever
we're
seen
gonna be talking-
Pastor to Youth?
No, can't say it.
Yep.
We're going to be talking all about a youth ministry post-mortem, talking about David and Sam's experiences, and then also just kind of looking at the book Sustainable Youth Ministry by Mark DeVry, and looking at some things that we could be doing differently in our better years. And so, guys, just wanted to start out with any funny story or tip or trick you learned along the way in youth ministry. And I'll start you out with one.
Do it.
So I got that tip from a veteran middle school pastor, Greg Clydesdale. And he said, yes, when you take students to camp and you're in the cabin and you need them to go to sleep, it's very simple. First, you set a timer. You tell them when they have to be in the bed, and they have to get everything done. They have to be in the bed. When the timer goes off, you turn off the lights. They need to be in the bed. Then you pray for them out loud by name as they're laying in bed. All of them. Give them each 5 minutes a piece. Go through the whole room. Halfway through, they'll be asleep. And they'll all be asleep. And it serves two purposes. You get to pray for them all by name, and also they go straight to sleep.
That is the definition of a cheat code.
Guys, it works. I've done it so many times.
If you've never taken notes in the show, now's the time to do that. Man, I don't know if I have cheat codes. When I jumped into youth ministry, I was still a youth, so I felt like I didn't have the opportunity to gain that many here's the tricks of the trade. It was more just try to build the plane as we're flying it type of thing. I don't know if I have any life hacks for youth pastors. I don't think I was
How old were you?
that good. This 18 and a half.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That
Babies leading babies.
yeah. David, do you have it? Did you
The majority of...
play with?
Yeah, I don't know. The majority of my youth ministry experience was at camp, but I was a youth pastor for a spell. And I feel similar to you in the sense of just trying to tread water when I was doing it. Some of my favorite things were gaslighting the students, right? One of my favorite, I don't know if I'll say prank, but maybe it's a prank, is we were at camp one year and there was a storm, so we couldn't go outside, and we were in the lodge. I was like, all right, guys, we're going to take a moment. Let's just enter in right now. And then I played the video of the worship chicken video where it's like a squeezy chicken, but doing Waymaker. And the whole room erupted. It was awesome. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think if you can't underestimate the power of silliness or a silly game when it comes if you're trying to be a trailblazer in youth ministry or something, and you're I'm going to just do catechism. I'm not going to do any of the silliness. Just let it rip, sometimes let the silliness happen. Sometimes that's it is a true bridge builder and a way maker. It can
A miracle worker.
I love to
it's there.
Look at our youth ministry experience and then look at I have online friends who have a very different youth ministry experience where they're like brandy, like they're like the youth is so branded and they have like 1,000
David,
kids.
What was yours? What was your youth ministry experience? Because me and Noah grew up in the same youth group, and
yeah,
had a different one.
Are you saying me
when
leading
David was in
versus being
church?
in one?
No, like when you were in youth group.
Oh, sure.
As a kid,
A couple
Pastor's
different
kid.
Yeah, a couple different iterations. We would have a youth pastor off and on sometimes. A lot of times it was volunteer. And then when I got to high school, it was my parents would have like a dinner and a Bible study at our house.
Mhm.
And we'd get like 40 kids there. But a lot of the time it would be like,
lit.
a lot of the time it would be like in middle school and stuff, it was like it was very trip centric and lock in centric. And I'm not a fan of either because of those experiences. But it was like Sunday nights, silly game, do a Bible study or something like that, hang out. Yeah. And it was trying to be like cool, like angsty cool. And I was like, this isn't me. Like I remember in middle school, like I'm not angsty cool. I remember that distinctly because like they would have a DVD playing of like angsty worship, like Christian music.
We had that.
Right? Yeah. And I was like, I don't, no.
Gosh, what was the name of that DVD?
I don't.
You talk, I'll look. Keep talking.
Something
so
like, now this is worship, or.
And I remember like they were like trying to come up with the name for the youth group, and my sister, I think, was one of the masterminds for it. And it met in this weird little room. This building was, over 100 years old. And there was like room off to the side. It was always dank. And that's where they put the youth group. And so they called the youth group the Pit. But it was an acronym because it was the mid 2000s. So the acronym
it has to be an acronym.
People in Transition.
Oh, what?
The Pit.
People in Transition.
How progressive.
It was the same as like the other church in town had the same thing. It was like CIA, Christians in Action.
CIA?
Yep.
There was two. They had a middle school name and a high school name. So when I went to be a youth pastor, it was St. Luke's Youth Group.
You're like, no trendy name.
Yeah.
No brand.
But that's where, go ahead.
You could have been right. It may have just been the WoW by the video, WoW early 2000s videos and stuff. But go ahead, David. Sorry.
But yeah, I think I had friends who went to very high production, youth groups and like the cool people youth group, and that was not my experience. And so I think that really, my experience as a youth shaped my experience as a leader.
Yeah.
And honestly, my favorite was the dinner and Bible study that my parents would do. And so that was a huge factor into how I modeled our group. So what about you guys?
We were in a big high production youth group. I mean, what do we have? 200? Is that two? I don't really know. I wasn't.
200 to 300, and we would split up. Middle school and high school would be totally separate, but they would have a like a tech person was necessary.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So we were. We had merch drops, so that tells you kind of what it was like. And it was great. I think there was a lot of discipleship happening, and there was a lot of good discipleship happening, and training and equipping for like doing mercy ministries and stuff. Like we did a lot, and I am incredibly indebted to the youth group I grew up in. I couldn't have gone off and done youth ministry at 18 had I not been in almost like a mini seminary pressure cooker type of situation that I wasn't in high school. So
yeah, it's true. Like in high school, like we got so much leadership as students. Like we were able to take ownership over like icebreaker games, and we like created our own like small groups that we met up with guys like without even adults like telling us to. And we had like group chat that we check up with each other on our Bible reading and purity. And we just served a lot. We did a lot of like service in the community. And also like for me, I went to school at our church building. And so like I walked past the youth offices like to go to class. And so I got to stop by and see my youth pastor, Kevin, and Josh, the youth assistant, and just get to spend time with them like throughout the day. And so I felt like I rubbed shoulders so much. That was like really awesome.
Yeah. Well, that's how we grew up. And then we all ended up doing it in some more official capacity at different points in our life.
Yeah, so I want to hear why. Like, what made you guys go into youth ministry, or how did you fall into it?
I can go first. My origin story. The small church I worked at in Mississippi, that's where I have like distant relatives that live in this like small town.
Cousins, so distant.
Cousins, second cousins, great aunts, all that good stuff. Basically, there for vacation during the summer, and the church didn't have a youth pastor or a youth person.
Which seems like a very common trend.
Very common trend. And like literally people like knew that my family knew that like I was like wanting to go into ministry and like wanting to
that you had a call, Sam.
That I had a call. Yeah. And they were like, could you do like the Wednesday night youth group service? Like you're here, would you be willing to do that? And I was like, yeah, sure. Like help lead worship and share a little devotional and just do that. So that's really how it started. As I led a Bible study, I think, and I led worship with my sister, and we like did that, hung around, met people. And one of the guys who was on the search committee for the looking for a youth pastor, like sat in the room and just kind of started the conversation about, would you be interested in maybe just coming back more, or like would you like interested in actually maybe interviewing for this? So it just kind of started as a very organic, like, would you be willing to lead a Bible study, into, hey, would you be interested in talking more about what it could look like for you to serve in the church? And that's how I started doing full-time youth ministry for part-time pay. And it was
yes,
awesome.
They paid you part-time, but you expected a parsonage.
Yes, I did stay in a parsonage right across the street. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack about. We can get to a lot of things about my time there.
How long were you there?
Just under 2 years, or like a year and 10 months or something. So
same length as my marriage so far.
Same length as my youth pastorship.
Oh,
yeah. Pretty average stint for a youth pastor.
Honestly, yeah.
Early starting youth pastors, 2 years or so. But yeah, that's how I got. That's how it was. It was a pretty wild time in my life, like to step into that. And it was I look back and do think it was absolutely of the Lord, and it was hard and it stretched me and all that, but like it was really good. And there's some of the hardest, that time in my life, youth pastoring, like in one hand held some of the hardest moments of my life and some of the sweetest at the same time, so it's all those things at once. But that's
permission to do a quick ad break.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey guys, if you're loving this conversation, you should Venmo me $15 and you'll get the unfiltered, honest, raw stories from our various youth pastor stories. I know for firsthand experience, Sam has an incredible story that I want him to share, but it only happens to our $15 subscribers. Yeah. Venmo me $15. All right. Thank you for listening to this ad break.
Yeah. David, what was your first? How'd you
I grew up in camp. Every summer I was at camp. And so that was the bulk of my youth. But from our
camp.
Methodist church camps. But the professional side of things were my second year of 3 years at seminary. A friend of mine reached out to me. Hey, we're looking for a youth pastor that would evolve into an associate pastor. Mm-hmm. Would you come and do it? And I said, I'll come visit. I visited. I had feelings about it.
Uh-oh.
And to be very frank, I think it was fear that led me to that decision to take the job. Fear of not finding a job. Took it. I was the youth pastor. There was I talked to one of my students afterwards, and he said that there was inner workings of people anti-David. So one of the students I grew closest to, he was like, "Yeah, I loved you. It was so good to have you. It was, unfortunate when I started, they told me not to trust you." It's like, that's crazy. So it was a rough 2 years at that church. So that was my professional youth clergy role. And then I served as I don't really know what my job title was, discipleship coordinator for a K through 12 Christian school.
Oh, yeah.
So very different than youth ministry, but also the same.
Ministry to youth.
Yeah.
And
I did that for 2 years. All right, go ahead, Nimini.
All right, so we've mentioned this book, Sustainable Youth Ministry, and you've also mentioned how the average tenure of youth pastors is very short, and they end up coming and going, and we've done the same ourselves. Yeah. And so, what are some of the factors that kind of made the ministry unsustainable for you? What made that the short tenure?
I can answer for both. Both Sam and no, just kidding.
I was like, oh, okay.
Both my jobs. Disagreements with corporation higher up direction. So both either the church or the school, not having healthy HR policies or work-life balance or job expectations, or in a way even mission unalignment, disalignment. So that would be mine for both.
Yeah, I think there's a lot, but if I look back and try to zero in on like what made things maybe unsustainable or really sped up the timeline for I can only be here for so long, I think I could look back and point to like lack of support systems and lack of I don't want to like over systematize church to where it feels too structured and clunky, but there's also some safety in systems that provide clarity and like direction and like support. And I didn't have a ton of that. It was, you're just kind of trying to, keep your plate spinning all the time. Like you're just trying to keep things in the air. And, it just is, it can be pretty like fast paced and dynamic, which is a lot of fun, but can also like lead to burnout quick if you're just like jumping from the next thing to the next thing to the next thing. And then you can kind of be like, whoa, what are we even doing here? Or something. So I think that kind of that lack of, overarching system or support and stuff was a hard thing for sure.
Yeah. You guys brought up some good things from the book. David kind of talking about leadership not all on the same page. And I mean, of course, that's what happens when you bring in a new youth pastor every couple of years. You know?
And for the record, Noah, like the copy of this book that I own, Noah sent me like when I became I think I started reading it and was like, I can't do this.
It won't work here.
Just like, oh, what a task. Like what a hard, like what I felt, I definitely felt like in over my head and at different points or feeling like, oh shoot, there's a lot of good advice, but that's harder. I'd rather, if I'm being honest, I'd rather just be a personality or just like try to go just try to figure it out on my own than lean on the wisdom of others. So I'd like to think I've grown a lot over the years.
But that's a fair point that if you are a youth pastor and you read this book in a church that is like unsupportive of this kind of like method, it's just not going to work. You're not going to be able to do it. And that was something that my professor, Mike Severe, really encouraged me with. Like, you take this book to the interview and you say, like, this is how I want to do ministry. Are you guys up for this way? And if not, like, it's not for you. And like, just being clear and upfront, because this book in a way is more for like leaders that are setting up the culture of the youth ministry. And like you were talking about, David, like not on the same page. The book talks about having a visioning retreat in which important stakeholders, the lead pastor or whoever is the supervisor of this youth pastor, the youth committee or youth parents, youth volunteers, and whether or not you currently have a youth pastor at that moment, gather together to meet and pray and discuss what is the vision and the mission and the values of your group. Like, what is the point of this youth ministry and what are we trying to do, and trying to get all on the same page with it. And making job descriptions for the youth pastor and then also for youth volunteers. And it even includes this position called like the ministry architect, like a person whose job it is to help put these systems together and make these like long-term curriculums and setting like what we're going to learn over the 7 years that you're in youth, and like helping ensure that these kind of like documents are in place so that you can use them and work the system. And he talked about like when you have a system and a culture developed like this in a church, like you can have youth pastors come and go if they fit into the system, and you'll still have that continuity for your youth and your parents. You know, like the youth pastor then can be more of a plug and play of a system that works, rather than like every time we get someone new, they have this brand new idea that now youth is on Tuesdays. And we're going to teach through the 7 I am statements of Jesus, even though last year they did John with the last guy, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, like that feeling that you were talking about, Sam, of like, I'm always underwater and like I have to just prepare the next teaching and I have to get the next thing out and like, what's the next event? Like, it talks about setting in advance your year events calendar. So, you know, for a whole year, like, this is the stuff we're going to do. And like these events all have purpose. And I'm going to plan the reason why we do it. And then also setting your curriculum that like I know what I want to teach them, because then I'm not scrambling every single week to figure out what to teach.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could probably just talk. You could go chapter through chapter through this book. I know it's been very influential for you in your new role, Noah, and like structuring structuring your current position and what your vision is for your youth group and stuff now. Like, you've named some. What are some of the other, as a resource, what are some of the other like maybe main things that you either have implemented or are trying to implement based on some of the wisdom you've gotten through sustainable youth ministry?
I think one of the main things that I've like been trying to do differently is really engaging with parents and like seeing the importance of ministry to parents, youth parents.
How do you actually do that?
Good question. I mean, for me, it's been like a lot of like trying to be a clear communicator. So trying to send out regular emails, and also we have a group text as well, and trying to reach out to parents individually to let them know that I'm praying for them, talking with them about how I can be there for their family and what how I can be a blessing to them. I think that like previously a lot of my ministry was like directed towards students, but like out of connection with their parents. And some of my youth, like I didn't even know their parents.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't really want to do it that way because, I mean, number one, I don't want the parents to think that it's like a creepy man talking to their children.
Yeah.
You know, like there has to be clear, like who this is and why am I trying to teach them about Jesus. But I think also like the amount of time that I have with students is so limited.
Yeah.
And like parents have so much more impact on them through just the culture of the home. And so like wanting to be a blessing to families, and in doing that, you know, meeting with their student individually, but also like talking to the parents,
Yeah.
you know, that I'm like not hiding things from them. I'm like connecting with them, and that we're like teammates in this. Like, for example, like growing up, we did like a purity event, right? Like
Right.
a True Love Waits sort of thing.
Right.
And so I didn't want to do something like that, but I knew just how important it would be for us to like talk about sexuality in a healthy way. And so wanted us to equip parents to be able to have 1,000 1-minute conversations throughout the lifetime about sexuality and Christian sexual ethic with their kids. And so we brought in a Christian counselor who's a certified sex therapist, and like she gave just this amazing 2-hour like seminar for our parents on what's important to teach your kids, a biblical framework for understanding sex. And it was just like amazing. And she said things that there's no way I would have known how to say from like her experience and also her training. And so I feel like that was a really good example of like, let someone else play to their strength, you know,
Sure.
in a therapist, but then also in a parent, that like the parent has this amazing opportunity and role to shape them from like birth.
I will say it feels like it takes a lot of humility to be able to say that, to say like, oh, there are people who know things that I don't know. And so I feel like that's what I think that shows healthy leadership, when you're willing to ask parents and others to be involved. And so I think like we like to say it's like, oh, well, maybe the church is blah, blah, blah. No, to me, it's also like you being a healthy leader and being willing to say like, yeah, there's things that I don't know. So
I remember I did like a series on like relationships and stuff, because like speaking from what experience or like whatever.
You were in
and
a
I had,
healthy
like,
dating relationship.
Yeah. That's true. Love you, Air. But I had different couples from the church like join us and then do like question and answer and like share about their like journey and stuff, and share advice and things. And I remember, I think it was the first couple. I didn't even vet these people. Like, I just like did it, and they like, and their story was that they like fell in love and got engaged at like 16.
Oh no.
And I was like,
Oopsies.
oh my gosh, I can't believe that, like,
This is the story you platform for your youth.
the story I platform is like, yeah, I was your age when I proposed to the person I was in love with.
Oh,
they're still married. Like they are still awesome people. It was just one of those moments where I'm like, I just look back and I'm like, that's so funny to be like, what did you guys do? You're like, the thing we'd never advise anyone else to. And you're like, okay, cool. I'm doing great.
And you're like, I'm so behind. I'm 19. I haven't proposed.
Yeah, I have no children, and I'm 19 years old. What a waste!
What are some things that you guys think that you would do differently if you were in a youth pastor position today?
I think what you're saying about parents is really good.
Agreed.
I was afraid of parents when I was.
I mean, you were.
I still am.
I still am. Like, I do think that there was like this. I had this unhealthy fear of like, I'm carrying the weight. I felt so responsible for being in charge of people's, like what they were ingesting, like from the Bible, and like I was responsible for their experience in the faith, I guess. I'm not saying that's healthy. I'm just naming how I felt.
Yeah.
And I don't think that I know that I didn't try to include parents in that journey, even for their own growth, seeing it that way. And if I would probably do a lot of what my friend Noah does, or just call him and be like, how are you doing this? But
oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think that would be a big one, is like more of that. You're almost like facilitating the discipleship for parents and kids and like the family, and you're supplementing that almost is, I think, a different
with
approach
some
to
mentorship and some age specific teaching.
Yeah. I think that would be a big change, or something that I would try to do different for sure.
My biggest weakness that I'd want to change was lack of help, like not getting volunteers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that could have been, the road went both ways, is what I'll say. Right? Like I could have asked for help more, but the church also could have. I had someone say the line that many youth pastors have heard: "We pay you, you do it." Right? So
that's why the church needs to read sustainable youth ministry, because they would then get this mindset that like a team of adults is what youth need, and that one youth pastor is not going to be able to disciple all these students. And so we're going to need a team of equipped adults that are focused on discipleship.
Yeah. What are some of the things you guys either are doing, or that you did that you're like, I 100% would do this again? Like, there's some things that I would go back and do different, but what are some things that you're like, I loved this, and I would definitely always do that or keep doing that? For me, again, this comes back to how I was brought up and trained and discipled, but like we did like ministry, we did like outreach in some of the trailer parks around our church that were just poverty stricken. You want to talk about the deep South and like the need that there is for like care and church community and stuff. We would go and do once a week. We would go and do, lead games in a Bible story and hand out snacks and stuff in trailer parks around our church. And we'd go to the nursing home and lead bingo and like, sing praise and worship songs with the folks that were there. So I just had, I think like that emphasis on getting youth out and doing stuff with their hands, and you're teaching lessons about faith in the gospel, but then you're like forcing them to, let those truths translate into action is really important in anything we do.
I'll go really quick. Just tried to be creative in how I did stuff, and it tended to go well. But the best thing was we would open up our home, and it does limit the amount of people that can come, but I noticed night and day difference to meeting in the church building versus meeting at our house.
Man, these are good, you guys, and like good reminders. I have not been able to get students serving as much as I desire and as much as like made an impact in my life. So I need to remember that. And also, I've not had students to my house because our house is too far right now. So these are very good things.
Gotta have a parsonage.
For me, like the one-on-one relationship or one-on-two appropriate relationship, just like getting to sit down with students and get to know them and get to hear them and listen to them talk and hear them process things like that, for me, made all the difference in my life. And I just want to continue to offer that to others. And I want to see that like maximized, multiplied among other adults getting to do that for students as well. So whenever I see adults that are like taking the initiative to like spend time with students and really know their hearts and point them to Jesus, I'm like, we're doing it.
Yeah. That's good.
All right, guys. Thanks for this staircase post-mortem on youth ministry. Truly recommend Mark DeVry's Sustainable Youth Ministry. It's a good one. And support your youth pastors.
And Venmo me $15 to hear our true stories we want to share.
You really want to hear those stories.
The Sam story, it was a fight to not include it on today's episode.
So send the money.
We are true teas over here.
Hey, I'm hoping we'll get one.
If you have any questions, it's staircasepod@gmail.com. You can send us a topic or a question. We would love to get to engage with you on that. Staircasepod@gmail.com.
All right. Well, thank you, Noah. Thank you, Mark. He's the author.
DeVry.
And thank you, boys, and thank you, listeners.
I just got a Venmo notification.
Amen.
Amen. Why don't we say amen when we end the episodes? What's wrong with us?
Hey, man. Bye.